All right. Hopefully I don't end up with too wet of a shirt or inside of my coat. So today we are in Oneida County. We're going to be doing a big loop in the state and county forest just south of the Willow Flowage. Really a beautiful area. Been up here a couple times on quads and a couple times on motorcycles, and it is just absolutely beautiful. Wasn't quite sure what the conditions are going to be like. I put a few miles on to get where we're at now, and most of the trails that I've been on are pretty hard packed, and that's because we did get, well, they got up here a bunch of rain. We did down in Marathon County as well, and I think they must have got a little bit of snow since then, because there's some on the top, but not quite enough for the big 1.75 lug on the Freeride 800 here. Definitely an amazing sled, super fun to ride, but obviously a bit more of a sort of dual sport sled, half trail sled, half off trail sled. Left, I think. But even though having a little bit of a hard time keeping the sled cool, the trails themselves, as far as the riding aspect goes, are just a blast, because rather than digging in around the corners, just a little bit too much throttle will kick the rear end out sideways, and I just love drifting around on a sled. That's what I like so much about riding four-wheelers, and on days we can do it on the sled, oh, it is just such a fun thing. And what an amazing day to be out here. A little bit of snow left in the trees, so we're just kind of out to check on what the trails look like up here and check the conditions. I don't know how soon after I'm filming this I'll actually get to post it. I usually try to do it within a week or so, but obviously conditions can change quite a bit. Sasquatch sighting. We were also out to test a few adventure or dual sport motorcycle accessories on a sled here, since that's what I mainly focus on, since our sled seasons are usually pretty short. The last couple years they've only been maybe a day or two long, or at least I've only gotten a ride or two in. But this season we're looking a little bit better. Let's see if I can pick up a little powder. 125, that's not too bad. But anyhow, we've got some adventure motorcycle mirrors on here that I'm actually going to be doing some testing on my motorcycles. They're kind of an extreme budget option, I suppose, but they're kind of a knockoff of a very expensive set of mirrors that's over $150, or right around $150 for a set, where these are only about $30. So I'll have a link in the description for these, and it's an affiliate link along with all the other links down there to all my other gear. So those links don't cost you guys anything extra, but if you purchase through them, then I make a small commission, which is what allows me to make motorcycle and snowmobile content for a living. So huge thanks to you guys that have been. Not exactly sure how well these are gonna end up turning out, since this is the first ride that I've been out with them on, but so far I gotta say it's actually really nice to be able to see behind you and know whether or not somebody's right behind you on your tail or not. So that's a good thing. It's also nice to be able to see my camera equipment, of course, which I also have links down there. And if you're wondering how you could possibly ride around when it's, I think, probably around 25 degrees, 26 I think was going to be the high, with an action camera and be able to film for hours at a time, well, that's because I'm not running it off of an internal battery. I've got an external power bank about the size of a cell phone in my pocket, and a cable running down from the side of the camera, which you might be able to see there. And that's definitely the way to go. I've tried it the other way, and it's not a good way to go. All right, so what did we just do? We took a left, so now we got to take a right? Why doesn't that seem right? No, I think this is the first time I'm going to take a left. It is. do I? I think I want to take a right here, but I'm not 100% sure. Ooh, yikes, I got a lot of riding to do. Better get moving. Just all rights till we get back here. And the other adventure motorcycle thing we're trying out today is my tactical vest here with the hydration pack in it. And I've actually tried to run with a hydration pack on the trail before, and the little mouthpiece froze up, so I'm sticking it down in my shirt today, and hopefully I notice before I get soaked. And hopefully I just don't get soaked at all. But I've got tools in the back here in this little pouch, and then inside of the pocket, the first pocket, I've got a first aid kit, and I've got a Tusk foldable, and I've got a Tusk folding shovel. I don't know what they've got for snow up here. It's all been rained on and compacted so much. Whoa, yeah, like that. There's some ice. That's kind of hard to tell, but you never know. You step off to try to get around an obstacle, and all of a sudden you're in a 2-foot drift or 3-foot drift, and then end up digging yourself out by hand. I've been there, done that, and it's definitely worth it to have a shovel with, so now we finally got a shovel. I've also rotated my riser on here, my handlebar riser, and thus the bars forward just a little bit. Whoa. Woo! And I'm noticing that I probably should have moved my thumb control out of the way as well. I moved it down a little bit. The brake I also had to shove over a bit for the bracket there. So I'm kind of getting used to that, but that's what these tests are for, you know? I think part of it is I just really would rather be able to use 2 fingers on the lever, and now that it's shoved over far enough, I have to put 3 on to get sort of the sweet spot and all the leverage, even though the brakes on this thing work so well. I could probably lock the track up with just 1 finger all the way over to the right. Let's see. Yep, definitely. I mean, this is just a high-performance sled all around, and I think that's what makes it so much fun out on the trail, even though it's not necessarily a trail sled. Really, I mean, as long as you're willing to get off it and lean a bit, especially with these C&A Pro skis that they sent me to test out, and the Shaper bars. Oh, this is just such a nice handling sled. What it is. I mean, obviously it's not going to be, again, the best trail sled out there, but it sure is a fun trail sled. It's the most fun sled I've ever owned, that's for sure. Especially on a day like today. Gotta take it easy though. The sled has more than enough power to put you in the woods, especially on a slippery day like this. It's good to have fun, but it's better to get back home safe. Ooh, yeah. I think it's a good thing that the trails are nice and hard and they've got that firm base, because otherwise I think there would be a lot of snert showing. Some snert right there. And some icy dirt. And rocks. Staying relatively cool though. Really should get a decent set of scratchers on here, so just don't have to worry about it. But I don't want to take bogey wheels off. Whoa. I suppose we're also trying out the new camera rig for the Insta360 camera here, which has just got kind of a cobbled mess of different arms holding it together with clamps. That's actually a kit, which I can link down in the description if you're interested. Boy, lots of sled traffic today. Didn't I just see you? I think I did. Oh, he had one of those fancy lights on his helmet. So that's, I think, a little bit safer than what I was running in previous years. I used to just clamp it on the front and kind of aim it out that way. And then I started to think about it and I was wondering if maybe that was not the smartest thing to do when you're riding on such tight trails and have people coming at you. So I'm hoping that's a little bit safer. I don't know. What do you guys think? That seemed like an okay thing to have on the front of a sled? Let me know in the comments. I think it is. I do really like the 360 perspective that it gives, or I guess more specifically the fact that I can aim it wherever I want it and aim it back at myself. It provides a really kind of a neat shot, and it works. It works by essentially having two opposed facing, extremely convex lenses that overlap one another, and then the camera stitches the footage together, and because of all that, you don't see the stick that it's on, which is really kind of neat. The batteries on there don't last too long, but I find that I can usually get out and ride for an hour or a little bit more with one, even when it is cold. I just carry a spare one in my pocket. Yeah, I gotta say, these mirrors are really nice and smooth. I mean, I was kind of concerned that, especially with their price, they'd be moving around so much and buzzing from the handlebars, but I suppose the bars are actually fairly smooth on this sled. I guess we'll see what they look like on a dual sport motorcycle that has a single cylinder engine. What is the firing order on a sled like this? It's a parallel twin, probably 180 degree firing order, I would guess. Whoa, there's some rocks. These are really neat trails. Getting to that kind of flat light makes it a little bit hard to see the contour of the trails. I can't tell if having the bars a little bit further away from me is helping or not. I was feeling a little bit cramped last time I was out, especially trying to kind of lean into the front to keep the weight over the skis around the corners. Yeah, and I feel like that's a bit better. I haven't really noticed anything that I don't like about it otherwise. That's pretty cool, huh? I love riding through the swamp. Ooh. Yeah, it's not exactly warm outside, but with all my gear on, I'm a little sweaty. I actually got the vents open on my coat and pants. But I've got a adventure motorcycle base layer on from one of my sponsors, Rocky Mountain. It's a MSR brand, and then I've got a set of basically sweatpants and a collared sweatshirt that's just sort of a mid layer. And between that and the Castle X gear, I'm good and warm. And I suppose trying to muscle this monster around. The skis give you lots of traction, but that comes at the expense of having to work a little bit harder, which I'm okay with. I always used to think that a base layer or anything built for riding or doing anything, I suppose, is always kind of silly, but to be honest, I do not miss trying to smash pants with uncomfortable seams and stuff into boots or outside of boots, and even just the fact that everything's a little bit stretchier and wicks away moisture so much better. It's definitely the way to go. There's a reason that they make that stuff. Of course, you don't need it, but I've definitely found that it's worth putting it on because it does make for a much more comfortable ride. Sun's kind of going away, isn't it? I had blue sky earlier. I should have got out before. up at my in-laws, spending a couple nights, and we just got up here last night, late last night. I worked until, what are we taking? We're taking all rights. We didn't leave until just about sometime after dark. I think sundown's around 4:30 these days. So worked on finishing up my 2025 wrap up, or finished filming it anyways. Still got some editing to do on it, and then we drove up here, and I decided to bring along a giant iced tea, which was delicious. Drank the whole thing on the ride, and then I got in bed around 12:30 or 1 o'clock, and I don't think I fell asleep until about 2:30. What are we doing here? Oh, I know. Do I know what we're doing? What are we doing? Is this... Oh yeah, I know exactly where we are. Good. Perfect. This is a good part of the trail. We're getting a little bit of snow too. That's what the clouds are about. I'm okay with that. I love it when there's snow in the trees. Makes for such a pretty ride. Pretty on its own, of course, but a little bit of snow really just adds something to it, doesn't it? Gotta watch what you're doing here. There's some deep ditches to go in. Actually, I had one of my motorcycles out here one year after the sled trails had closed, and this was still all covered in snow. I'd come through the other way, and I would have had to backtrack a long ways, so I just decided to take it. And after a full season of grooming and then a couple months of no grooming and just the sun shining on it, it was a little bit icy, but I made it through. How amazing is this? How hot are we? 136. Should probably find some powder. Look at this though. Just such a gorgeous place. God is so incredibly good to me. I know some people just don't like winter, but it is just such an amazing, amazing time of year up here. Snowmobiling is like nothing else. I'm actually going to make a video about that. About why I like snowmobiling better than motorcycling, or more, or why it's more fun. And a lot of it has to do, I think, with just sort of supply and demand, and the amazing ability to get out and ride so many different places that are inaccessible any other time of the year. And maybe if I was able to ride both of them an even amount, it would be closer, but I don't know, there's just something that I've just always loved about snowmobiling. I think I like it more. Now I almost feel like I'm not 100% sure. I would definitely like to be out on a bike again, but it's pretty hard to beat this, isn't it? They're both fun. Anything you can get out and get into this beautiful world and see amazing scenery like this, I mean, it's definitely worth riding, even if you just have to get out for a walk. It's just such a beautiful planet. See what I mean? How incredible is that? Just absolutely amazing. Oh, I cleaned the Freeride up too. I'm not 100% sure that I should have used the stuff that I did. It seems like maybe that's wanting to come off, so that'll probably have to go somewhere else next year. And hopefully I don't peel my wrap off. But it sure looks nice and shiny. Oh man, look at that. Uh-oh, I just finally get to the good trails and then you're going to shut off? Sure hope you saved that footage, camera. My drink feels like it might be partially frozen. It was. Got it open up though. Well, it is just a beautiful day here on the Oneida County Snowmobile Trails. Really, really a pretty trail. We're kind of just south of the Willow Flowage with the Freeride 800. Snow's coming down. Trails are really pretty hard, but there's a bit of, well, small amount of snow on top. Having a little bit of hard time keeping things cool with no scratchers and the 1.75 lug track. We got a little bit of snow in there, so that's good. Get out here and ride them while you can. Video coming out soon. All right, let's go. The other nice thing about having my bag is that I'm able to bring my Tusk jump pack with, which is just something you can hook up to a dead snowmobile or a motorcycle or four-wheeler battery, and yikes, it'll bring it back to life, which is definitely a good thing on a big 800 like this, because I certainly don't want to have to try to pull this thing over. I do have the aftermarket, or the factory aftermarket ripcord on it to fire it up if I need to, but I've tried to pull it when it's cold before and it's not much fun. Ah, look at this. Gorgeous. It's really coming down. Hopefully you guys can see. I don't know what they're supposed to get for snow up here. I guess I didn't think it was going to be that much, but this looks like it could add up. I rode this trail on a four-wheeler once. It's got a big group. You just waving at me? Where's your four people? Stay on trail or stay home. Isn't this public land? What do they care? Wait a minute. I think Oneida County allows motor vehicles on their public land or on the county land. Oh, are we on state land? Oh, we're on state land, that's why. Not a whole lot of opportunities for off-trail riding around here. Gotta go basically up to the UP. And I think that's allowed. I know everybody does it. I guess I don't know that it's necessarily something that's a sanctioned thing, or if it's just allowed or not deterred or not stopped, not enforced. I think maybe people just aren't as uptight up there as they are here. Whoop. What are you guys doing? Taking up the trail. Watch for groomers, grooming day and night. Hand heater's on? I guess my fingers are just cold from taking pictures. One of those guys had I just passed had a camera on him. I've actually sort of been, I don't know, I guess worrying about whether or not filming on a snowmobile trail is something that people are going to like in areas where the trail runs on what is technically private land. I mean, I think if you're in a public space and allowed to be somewhere, I think most times you can film unless you're inside of a building. I don't know if people get upset about filming on their land when the snowmobile trail runs through it. I don't know. I'm sure somebody could get upset about it. What do you guys think? I've actually had made a video closer to home on my buddy's 70 Arctic-Cat, or 70-something Arctic-Cat with a cat cutter. We took it out for a ride together one day, and the Snowmobile Club actually shared the video on their page, so I don't imagine that they were too concerned about it. But if you can't tell, I worry too much. I've been trying to get myself to stop doing that, but kind of difficult when you've been doing it for 30 some odd years. You just kind of don't realize it creeps in, and then one day you realize you've been wasting a bunch of time and energy on something that you was never meant to think about. I think a lot of it is not a lot of it, basically all of it is just that I'm so thankful and feel so blessed to be able to do this for a living that I'm just terrified it's going to be taken away, but that's not up to me. I need to just trust and enjoy and live life and share this beautiful, beautiful planet with you guys and take you on adventures and be a bright spot in your day. So I'm going to try my best to do that. But I'm only human, and I think sometimes I forget that. I think I've always had it in my head that I need to get everything absolutely right. And living that way, you maybe save yourself some trouble, but most often you learn from mistakes, and if you're not making mistakes, you're not really living. And of course, you got to be a little bit cautious, keep yourself safe and everybody around you safe, but if all you're ever doing is trying to avoid problems, then you're not really ever gonna get to enjoy life and learn anything. Woo. And I've definitely noticed just along, I suppose, with getting older, my energy levels really have decreased a lot in recent years when my worries have started to suck my energy away more and more. Well, it's not a good thing. It's the way you see life ends up being the way that life is, and if all you ever do is look at the negative side of things or the scary things, and you don't ever just let go and live, it makes life a lot less enjoyable. I think part of the reason that I have been struggling so much in recent years is just that I'm now in a very strange place that I never really thought I would end up being in, where I'm not locked to a desk for 40 hours a week with a very stable and steady paycheck. I'm basically just kind of winging it and seeing what happens. And I think part of the problem too is just that what I used to do for stress relief, go out and enjoy the trails and spend time in the woods with God, has now turned into work. And I don't ever take any machine out anymore without working to some extent. Basically film every single time I go out, with very few exceptions, which is how it's always been. But now, of course, the thing that used to be my stress relief is now my means of putting food on the table for my family, so makes it slightly higher stakes. But I just keep telling myself videos will get better and better the more I let go and just enjoy it. That's hard to do. That's why life is, that's why I say life is really all about perspective, and it actually says that right in the Bible. There's a verse about, your eye being a light or a lamp for your soul, I think, or something like that. Something to that effect. And if your eye is healthy, if you see things properly the way you're meant to, with everything being a blessing, and just even the fact that you can get up out of bed in the morning and you're still breathing, it's more than enough to be thankful for. And it's easy to forget that, especially in a fast-paced world filled with consumerism, where the TV tells you you need all this stuff to be happy. It's the exact opposite. The more stuff you get, the more you worry about it, and the more you get what you think you need, often the more times you just worry about losing it, which is exactly what I'm doing. And let me tell you, I probably enjoy doing this job part-time a lot more than I enjoy doing full-time, which is incredibly silly. But that easily transfers to anybody, regardless of their situation. And like I said earlier, I'm incredibly blessed, and I know that. But I'm also incredibly tormented. Which is really silly, because if your eye is healthy, then your world is filled with light and happiness and joy. And if it's dark, then all you see is the bad side of things, and it's pretty easy to hone in on that, and it's not what we're meant for. Meant for more than that. How about these trails, huh? Ooh, how about that trail? I don't want to go sailing off there. Whoa! Don't push me off that way either. Somebody's running clots. You can always tell. We're still just taking rights. So my bag's really feeling just fine, and that's what I like about this vest. Like I just talked to you about how consumerism is is a problem, and now I'm trying to sell your products. The thing with that is, and wow, look at this. The thing is, I try really hard not to ever push anything on you. I just want to share the stuff that I think is cool with you guys, and of course, like I said, it helps me to continue doing this, so it's not like I have too much choice in the matter, but I would never want to try to push anything on you, and I certainly wouldn't want to try to sell you something or talk you into something. I don't want to talk you into anything, but I wouldn't show you guys stuff or talk about stuff. I don't show you guys stuff or talk to you guys about stuff that I don't see as something that would add value to your life, or at least I guess hasn't added value to my life. It's up to you to decide whether it's going to add value to yours. But a tactical vest like this with a hydration pouch in the back is super nice. I've tried a couple different hydration vests before this one made by MSR that Rocky Mountain sent me, and they just always kind of hung too low on my back, where this one just fits really nice, even with that heavy shovel and all my tools in the tool pouch. It's really pretty nice, and then you don't have tools slapping around inside of your you don't have tools slapping around inside of your tail bag or anything. Whoa, look at all these guys. I should probably look at the map. McCord Road. What? Yeah, that's not a sled trail though. So, of course, like I said, no pressure, but I will have a link for it down in the description. I am obviously having some trouble keeping the water line from freezing solid, and I don't know that there's really a better way to do it. You almost need some sort of pouch that just runs on the inside of your coat, but then with that sort of squeeze, I guess I don't know what you call it, the end of the line that you squeeze to get the liquid out of, having that stuff in your shirt, obviously, can cause a leak, which you certainly don't want. That would be good way to freeze yourself out here. I do really have to say I'm surprised at how light it feels on my back, and of course anytime you put anything on your back you're weighing yourself down and not doing yourself any favors, but it is quite convenient to have all that stuff on your back rather than trying to stuff it in a pouch somewhere on a sled where, like I said, it's going to get slapped around, and I feel like it probably kind of helps me stay a little bit warmer too. A little bit of extra insulation and wind protection, at least in a few spots. I gotta say, it is really nice to have those mirrors on here too. They're certainly not the most natural looking thing, and I think most things look better without mirrors. But if you like to be able to see what's behind you, and you've got a set of bars that you've got some room on, and they're high enough that you're not just going to be staring at your shoulders. So far, this seems like a pretty darn good solution, in my book anyway. Next thing I got to do is get a GPS mounted up here, and I've been thinking of trying to just stick one of my old Garmin Nuvies on here, but there's not really a great place to put it unless I somehow mount it right here. You can, of course, get the little extra glove box extension, but not exactly made of money at this point in time, so I don't really want to spend $140 on one, especially since I only get to ride this thing once in a while. And it is nice to be able to just stop and look at the map right in front of you. But it's also not that big of a deal to just run the Polaris app and turn it on when, or just pull the phone out and turn it on when you need to. Which, speaking of, I should probably do, since I've just sort of been going by memory and memory of the Polaris app, which the Polaris app I think could be wrong, so gotta watch what I'm doing here. Iron Gate Road. Not sure if this is where I'm supposed to be or not. We're just definitely road riding here, though. Oh, hey, look at this. I was going to say I know where we are, but that's not exactly true. I know about where we're at. I'm staying fairly cool on the road. I believe this is my turn. Indeed it is. It's nice to be able to go fast out on the roads like that and really cover some ground, but I think I prefer being in the woods like this. Pretty hard to beat. I believe that shrunk down, didn't it? No? Yes? I thought it was lower. Seems pretty decent down there, surprisingly. I don't think that sticks out any farther than the ski does. Let's see how that looks. I don't know if I'm really out of that out of shape, or photography is just that much work. Yeah, water keeps freezing up. I'm just gonna try tucking it on the outside. See if that works. I'm a little afraid my shirt's wet. All right, let's go. As much as I'm happy to be out and I'm able to do this today, I gotta say I do really prefer riding during the week when nobody else is riding. Beware of monsters. Still never know what's going to be around the corner. I suppose even on the quietest days on the trails, it could always be a deer or a bear standing. Well, not a bear, not this time of year. Hopefully not anyway. There could always be something sitting on the trail, so I always got to be cautious, but I do prefer the low traffic days. Oh no, I lost track of my rights and lefts. I think we're going this way. Yeah, I believe so. That looks familiar. So how does it look back there? Are we getting some snow on the slides and the coolers? How about all over the camera? Is it all over the camera? Is the camera still there? Oh yeah. Also maybe a little bit full of ice. Yikes, these are tore up. It got icy while I was gone. Well, I think we'll probably call it a day. Thanks for riding along with me, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. Beautiful, beautiful place to ride. Definitely worth coming out here to check these trails out. Pretty close to Minocqua, but being a little bit further south, you get maybe a little bit less traffic. I kind of try to stay away from towns because trails get really ripped up coming in and out of the bars and stuff, and that's not really my scene. I prefer to be in the woods, not in the bar. So I would say definitely a good loop to do. Lots of beautiful trails, really beautiful trails all over here. So definitely worth it. Let me know if you guys have been out riding here, if you plan to, or if there's any other spots around that I should check out and bring you guys along with. As far as the stuff that we're testing out today here, the mirrors, I've got to say, I really don't exactly like how they look on here. But from an actual performance standpoint, man, they work really, really nice. And it's definitely, I think, worth the sort of goofy look to be able to see behind you decent. It's super nice, of course, to be able to see whether your camera's recording or not. But, I mean, for anybody else that just wants to be able to see behind them and doesn't want the super shaky mirrors that they sell that go on a windshield at the side of the sled, I mean, these things sure seem nice and solid, and they're extremely easy to fold out of the way. If you're going to do some off-trail riding, you could also just take them off pretty easy, and then you're just left with this, I suppose, but really a pretty slick setup. My back is feeling maybe a little bit tired from carrying all this gear, but it certainly is nice to have my drink just always right here. I wonder if that froze solid now. Yeah, it's a little icy. It seemed like it was doing better in my shirt, but I don't really think I want to soak my coat while I'm out snowmobiling. That doesn't seem like a good idea. Soak the inside of my coat. So still some more figuring to do when it comes to that. But otherwise, yeah, been a great day. Take care, stay safe, stay swanky, get out here and enjoy this beautiful world God created for us to explore and enjoy any chance you get. Doesn't matter whether you're on your machine or just on your feet. Just get out here. Spend time where we're meant to be. Always makes my soul feel a little bit better. Catch you guys in the next one.